The Prime Minister has been under growing pressure to declare how the revamp was paid for. Let's speak to Ben Harris-Quinney, Chairman of the Group. That's the world's oldest conservative think tank. Ben, good afternoon to you. Does Mr Johnson have questions to answer?
Well, I think he very clearly has questions to answer. Those questions have been put to him many, many times now, and he appears to be refusing to answer a number of them. He's made a very clear denial on the let the bodies pile up point, but on the refurbishment point, he has consistently refused to answer who it was who initially made the payment and exactly how the whole process was handled and why money was flowing between Conservative Central Office, the Cabinet Office, the contractors for the building work, and himself.
I mean, you're a Conservative. You're not here to, want to see the Tories fail in any way, but you genuinely believe that there is... Are you smelling something bad here, Ben?
Well, look, 2 months ago, we called for an investigation into the role of the Prime Minister's girlfriend, Carrie Simmons, in government. And from everything I have seen, going back several years now, many of these issues trace back to her and her involvement. Personally, I don't believe that Boris Johnson would know the difference, what wallpaper was on the wall or what sofa he had. I don't know Boris Johnson well myself, but from all accounts, he's not that sort of guy. He's interested in other things. And my suspicion is that what happened was that his girlfriend went ahead with this very extravagant redecoration of their private flat. He wasn't really aware of all the details until the final bill came in. And that's when he realised he had a personal problem paying it because despite being Prime Minister and one of the highest paid people in the country historically over the last 10 years, he couldn't afford it.
Doesn't that say something terrible then about Boris Johnson if he's unaware that his girlfriend has bought £11,500 worth of lamp, £5,000 worth of chair, £10,000 worth of wallpaper, and he didn't? Did he not notice?
Well, I mean, I suppose what he's saying is that his focus was on running the country, and indeed that is the line that the government would be out there, that he simply wasn't interested in flat redecoration. But there are a number of other issues.
Yeah, but when he went home when he went upstairs at night after a hard day's work, would he not notice that his lounge suddenly looks like the British Museum?
Well, he's not a detail guy. I'm not sure. I mean, you would think that yes, you would notice that. But I'm not convinced that he was across it until it was too late. On the other issues, the chatty rat scandal where he was reported to have said that he wanted to stop the investigation to prevent it from falling into the quartile of his girlfriend's friend, and with the let the bodies pile up comment, these are things that I think it's much more likely that he was aware of from the outset. But as you say, he is the Prime Minister, and it is his responsibility who he cohabits with.
True. But would Carrie Simmons have the authority to suddenly, without anybody knowing, under the light of a silvery moon, nip out the back and go on a massive shopping bonanza?
Well, when it comes to taxpayers' money, we've got to remember with this that £30,000 is the maximum amount that the taxpayer will authorise for a number 10 refurbishment. We've got to also remember that it was only done a few years ago under Theresa May. So it's not, I think Sarah Vine this morning said the Prime Minister can't live in a skip. Well, I think we were a long way off a skip just because the furniture came from John Lewis. And it would appear that yes, his girlfriend had been given the charge or authority to go away and do this. I think what is even more shocking, a story that has come out, is that when the government ethics chief said that they wouldn't approve any more than £30,000, the reports are that Carrie Simmons attempted to get her fired from her role in the civil service. So this is one of those issues where you might say, well, wallpaper, sofas, what does it matter? But goes to a lot of wider issues, and I think a much wider problem as to the toxicity in number 10, which has really flared up in the last week in relation to Dominic Cummings and his reasons for leaving Downing Street.
There's lots of characters in this story, but I'm looking at your Twitter feed as well, Ben, and what you're saying to us now. I take it you don't like Carrie Symonds very much.
No, I've been raising concerns about Carrie Symonds since I was a victim of something called the Tatlatory scandal, which she was very much involved in. I think there's more to come out.
Well, she's not here to defend that, of course. So let's deal with what we can, what we do know as fact.
A full investigation into it, which I submitted evidence on her, and I've followed.
Was this when you were kicked out of the Tory party?
Well, funnily enough, I was never kicked out of the Conservative Party because I wasn't a member. But they forgot that and tried to expel me anyway. My understanding is there are a lot of people that aren't members of the Conservative Party, so they might have a long list.
Yeah.
But I mean. But
are you saying then that there is a kind of element of revenge in your words over Carrie Symonds? Do you have a problem with her? Do you have a problem with women? Where is the problem?
I've been very clear throughout my concerns about Carrie Symonds publicly, and that this person should have no role in politics and be nowhere near public life. The problem with the current situation, and I encourage your listeners to go and look at the track record of this individual. But the problem with the current situation is she doesn't have an official role. She's not been appointed. She's not been elected. She's not accountable to anyone. And I have gone as far as to say, I told you so. That this
it's an inevitability, though, isn't it, Ben? I mean, this is a slightly different issue, but, we know that, David Cameron would have taken some counsel from Samantha, Theresa May from Philip, John Major from Norma, Gordon Brown from Sarah. I mean, you're married to somebody. You're going to sit down and have a chinwag with them of an evening.
I don't think there's ever been a case of British history where the significant other of a prime minister has ever been accorded this sort of level of interference or a role in so many scandals after indeed such a short period of time. But even after the longest serving prime ministers, I don't remember, after 10 years, Dennis Thatcher having these question marks over him. I don't remember Cherie Blair having these question marks over her. And I think it comes from Carrie Symonds being a political animal. She got into this position because of her role in politics. She worked for the Tory party. Right. By all accounts, she never had a role or a job outside of politics, which I also think is a first in terms of the past partners. And I think that is a big root of the problem, in that, if you want to have a political role, you need to be elected or you need to be appointed. To get there on the basis of who you are dating or who you are married to or who you are cohabiting with, even if it has happened in the past, which as I say, I don't see any historical record for, but even if it has, it is wrong, and it is abuse of our constitution. Of course, Britain is a parent of democracy, and these sorts of things are very important. Who makes the decisions, when the decisions are made, a clear track record of transparency that the public can look at as to how those are made, and all those things are coming up. Okay, fair to say then, Ben, you're not on Carrie Symonds' Christmas list. I think we can probably conclude that. Thank you. That would be fair to say, but I think we need action as a country. Okay, action as a country on that point. Ben Harris-Quinney, thank you, Chairman of the Group